You have achieved the bang level. Once again, it's mind bang. Obvious. Title's really starting to grow on you, isn't it? Crickets. Sheesh, even the crickets are silent. I mean, I could have very easily called it brain hump. My girlfriend's mom would hard not approve. But then again, I don't approve of her either. So, we'll call it even. Right, my Stevens? Let's get to the prime, grade A, extra fancy bang. Here it is. Was Satan the first punk rocker? Alright, let's get this out of the way. Satan gets a pretty bad rap. Blame the Bible, blame Puritans, blame your mom's paranoia about metal albums in the 80s. But if you actually read Paradise Lost, like, really read it, John Milton kind of makes Satan sound cool. Not cool like babysitter who lets you stay up late and watch booby flicks, but cool like frontman of the greatest goddamned punk band the universe has ever seen. I mean, what's punk if not looking at a system designed to keep you in line and saying, nah, I'm good? Heaven's the ultimate authoritarian regime. An all-powerful dictator, an angelic bureaucracy, and a zero-tolerance policy for questioning authority. Enter Satan, formerly Lucifer, the scene kid of celestial beings, who says, I don't want to be a cog in this divine machine. Stages the first ever walkout, and gets his ass kicked straight into hell. But does he wallow? No. He rallies his fellow fallen angels with a speech that is basically an anti-establishment anthem. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Which, let's be honest, sounds like the kind of thing Johnny Rotten would have scrawled on a bathroom wall. Satan versus the system, and how that's kind of punk. Punk rock isn't just about power chords and screaming about how your dad sucks. It's about rebellion, flipping off the establishment, and creating something new when the old system fails you. And Satan, dude, embodied all that. The whole Paradise Lost arc is basically the first punk rock concept album. Track 1, Rebel Yell, but make it biblical. Satan questions the authority of heaven, gets thrown out. Track 2, We built this hell on rock and roll. He starts building an anarchist's paradise out of fire and brimstone. Track 3, Eat the Apple. He goes DIY, brings his message to Earth, and helps Adam and Eve start their own thing. Milton might have been a deeply religious guy, but he accidentally made Satan the protagonist. Satan's got all the best lines, the most agency, and a never-say-die attitude. He's like if Iggy Pop had wings, a scorching case of hemorrhoids, and a grudge. Satan versus Star Wars. The ultimate rebellion. Now let's get real effing nerdy. Ever notice how Satan's whole story kind of mirrors one of pop culture's precious touchstones of geekdom? I'm talking original Star Wars trilogy here. No, not the part where the Emperor looks like he's been microwaved too long. I mean the real conflict. God equals the Galactic Empire. Omnipotent, all-powerful, no room for rebellion. Satan's Luke Skywalker, young, idealistic, decides he's not going to play by the system's rules. The war in heaven's the rebellion versus the Empire. Hell equals Tatooine, because nothing good ever happens there. Satan basically pulls a, I'm not joining you, I'm fighting you, and instead of blowing up the Death Star, he bites the dust and sets up his own operation in hell. And honestly, if Satan had a punk band, you know they'd play a set at the Mos Eisley Cantina. Where are the satanic punk bands? For a movement built on pissing off old people, punk rock hasn't gone full Satan as much as you'd think. Sure, you've got bands that flirted with devilish aesthetics, the Misfits, the Damned, every metal band that ever tried to out-spooky each other. But where's the actual satanic punk movement? Where's the band called Better to Reign in Hell, playing crusty basement shows and screaming Miltonic verses at a crowd of sweaty nihilists? Some punks have big Satan energy, though. Sid Vicious of the Sex Pistols, self-destructive, anti-authoritarian, didn't give a single fuck. If anyone would have fought God just for the hell of it, it's him. Polystyrene from X-Ray Specs, rebelled against gender norms, industry expectations, and was straight up chaotic. Milton would have loved her. Jazz Coleman from Killing Joke, conspiracy theorist, mystic, possibly part-time demon. Gay advert of the adverts. Broke rules, shredded on bass, did it all looking cooler than Satan himself. G.G. Allen from Your Worst Nightmares. If Satan had an earthly avatar, it was this frickin' guy. He was basically an unholy force of disgust and destruction in humanish form. Final thoughts. Satan is punk as hell. Satan isn't just a punk rocker. He might be the first punk rocker. He fought the system, he refused to bow down, and he turned damnation into a DIY paradise. Sure, maybe he went a little too far. Deception, corruption, yada yada. But tell me that's not exactly what every punk band gets accused of when they push boundaries. So next time someone asks who the first punk was, don't say the Ramones. Don't say the Clash. Look them dead in the eye and say, Lucifer, my dude. That Satan fella was pretty punk rock. At least on his first album. After that, he was just phoning it in, honestly. Wee woo. I must say that was some mighty tasty bang, my compliments to the chef. Now on to the next course of extra banged mind with a side of, what? The Mona Lisa is probably fake, and you flew to France for nothing. So you've saved up, booked the flight, and made it all the way to France. You fought through the crowds, endured the silent judgment of French waiters, and polished off an overpriced baguette while mentally preparing to experience art history's greatest treasure. You're standing in the Louvre, sweating in a sea of tourists, and there it is, the Mona Lisa. Or is it? Hate to break it to you, but there's a decent chance that painting you're craning your neck to see is a total fake. Yep, you might have just traveled halfway across the globe, only to stare at an extremely well-crafted copy. I know it's a lot to take in. But buckle up, because we're diving into why the Mona Lisa might not be the real deal, and why that might actually be the most French thing imaginable. The Louvre's backup plan. Let's start with the Louvre itself, a place that's as much a tourist trap as it is an art museum. The Mona Lisa isn't just another painting in the collection, it's the painting, the star of the show, the Beyoncé of the Louvre. It's also a prime target for thieves, vandals, and unhinged influencers looking for clout. To protect it, the Louvre occasionally swaps out the original Mona Lisa for a copy. You heard me right. Sometimes the real Mona Lisa isn't even on display. Instead, it's chilling in a high-security vault somewhere while visitors stare at an imposter. The museum doesn't advertise this, of course. They just let you stand there, snapping photos of a painting that might as well be the world's most famous placebo. It's kind of like buying tickets to see your favorite band, only to find out it's just a cover band playing the hits. Don't Stop Believin' is still a good time, but come on, it's not really Journey. The Great Heist of 1911. Now let's rewind to 1911, when the Mona Lisa was actually stolen. This is where things start to get spicy. Enter Vincenzo Peruggia, an Italian handyman with a very loose grasp on the concept of job loyalty. One morning, Peruggia walked into the Louvre, plucked the Mona Lisa off the wall, stuffed it under his smock, and strolled out like he was running late for a pasta lunch. For 2 years, Peruggia kept the Mona Lisa hidden in his dingy Paris apartment, right next to his croissant crumbs and questionable life choices. When he was finally caught trying to sell it, the painting was returned to the Louvre, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But here's the thing. Can we be sure the painting that was returned was the real Mona Lisa? Back in 1911, art authentication wasn't exactly cutting edge. This was pre-DNA testing, pre-X-rays, pre-CSI, Louvre edition. All they really had were a couple of experts squinting at the painting like, yeah, looks legit. If that doesn't inspire confidence, I don't know what will. The copies conspiracy. Here's where the plot thickens. While Peruggia had the Mona Lisa, there's speculation that he might have been involved in a forgery scam. According to some theories, an Argentinian conman named Eduardo de Valfierno orchestrated the whole thing. Valfierno allegedly hired artists to create multiple high-quality Mona Lisa forgeries before the heist even happened. The plan was diabolical. After Peruggia stole the real painting, Valfierno could sell the forgeries to rich collectors, claiming each one was the genuine article. Meanwhile, Peruggia would take the fall as the mastermind behind the theft. It's like The Italian Job, except way less cars and way more art nerds. Think about it. If you're a wealthy collector in 1911, and someone offers you the stolen Mona Lisa, are you really going to question it? Probably not. You just hang it up in your private gallery, throw some fancy parties, and sip champagne while people gasp at your daring acquisition. Meanwhile, Valfierno and Peruggia are somewhere laughing their butts off and counting their stacks of cash. Is the Louvre's Mona Lisa the real one? So, how do we know that the Mona Lisa in the Louvre today isn't one of Valfierno's forgeries? Short answer, we don't. Even now, with all our fancy technology, there's no surefire way to prove the painting's authenticity. And back in 1913, when the painting was returned to the Louvre, there was even less to go on. They just shrugged, said, "Looks Mona Lisa-ish," and called it a day. The fact is, the Mona Lisa has been through so much over the centuries. Wars, thefts, attempted vandalism, that it's kind of a miracle it even exists at all. But the lack of a definitive authentication process means there will always be a shadow of doubt hanging over it. Why it doesn't even matter. Here's the funny part. Whether the Mona Lisa in the Louvre is real or fake, it doesn't actually matter. People aren't lining up to see it because of its brushstrokes or its historical significance. They're there because it's the freaking Mona Lisa. It's famous not because of what it is, but because of what it represents. The mysterious smile, the stories surrounding it, the pop culture references, it's all part of the allure. The Mona Lisa has become a symbol, a meme, an icon. Whether it's the original or a copy, it's the idea of the Mona Lisa that people care about. That said, it's hard not to feel a little cheated when you've braved the Louvre's crowds, spent €15 on a bottle of water, and squinted at a painting the size of a large pizza, only to realize it might not even be the real thing. The legacy of a maybe fake painting. So is the Mona Lisa in the Louvre legit? Who knows? What we do know is that Vincenzo Peruggia's little art heist turned the painting into a global phenomenon. Before 1911, the Mona Lisa was just another Renaissance portrait. After the theft, it became the world's most famous painting. But let's be honest. If you're standing in the Louvre, packed like a sardine in a room full of sweaty tourists, the thought that you might be staring at a fake is both hilarious and kind of fitting. Art isn't about what's real or fake. It's about the story we tell ourselves. Still, the next time someone posts a selfie in front of the Mona Lisa with the caption, "OMG, I saw the real thing," feel free to drop a little truth bomb in the comments. Because let's face it, Vincenzo Peruggia is probably laughing his smock off somewhere in art thief Valhalla. And I think that's the real masterpiece. Everyone has a mind, but no one's willing to bang it. You feel me, folks? So I volunteer to guide you through the land of seeing you through to the promised land where they bang more minds by 9 a.m. than most people bang all day. You want to be an accomplice to this crime against knowledge and humor? You know what to do. Whap that subscribe button, boop the like thumb thing, and share this shizzle with your friends like you found drugs. Or something. I mean, give it to the police. The found drugs, what am I talking about? Anyway, this has been your mind, and I have been your banger. Mind bang? All the kids are doing it.